Hi, everyone, and welcome to the campus of Case Western Reserve. Welcome to DeSanto Field. It is a beautiful fall October Saturday night just east of the city of downtown Cleveland. For tonight's President's Athletic Conference matchup, it's Week 5 in the PAC, and it's Case Western hosting St. Vincent. My name is Ron Jans. To my left, my partner tonight, Jason Ward. We're excited to bring you Spartan football. And, Jay, when you look at Case Western coming into this football game, they've got 4 wins in 4 contests. St. Vincent comes in only 1 win in their matchup so far this year, but Case Western has won by scores of 41-7, 64-6, 56-14, and 56-14. So not only are they 4-0 on the season, they are completely dominating their opponents. So how can you stay competitive when you're playing games that are basically over before halftime?
Right. The key word that you just said there is competitive, right? You want your kids to compete as often as possible, as much as possible, because when we get into these later games in the season and times are tough, they have to have that experience to draw on. So what Coach told us he's been doing, a lot of ones versus ones, a lot of big on big, a lot of good on good. That's going to keep them sharp. That's going to keep their competitive juices flowing and get them in the right spot for later on in the year.
So in practice, they're taking that first-team offense against the first-team defense.
Right.
At Case Western Reserve, that first-team defense is pretty good. They're loaded with experience, aren't they?
Big time. Big time.
When you look at keeping guys, your starters who are not playing very long into that third quarter, and you've been a coach for an awful long time, you know that guys want to play. They need to play. But when you're in a 42-0 contest in the early third quarter, and you as the coach in your head are thinking, I don't need to get my starting quarterback hurt in a game that's already over. I'm going to need him later when games mean more. But you've got your quarterback and your defensive end and whomever that needs reps, needs time, wants to be game ready. How do you weigh that dilemma, Jay, as a head football coach?
And let's be honest, they want stats too, right? Yeah. They want to get in the end zone. They want to rack up sacks. They want their catches. They want their yards, and that's all healthy. But, you've got to put the team first, right? We want this team to be as healthy as humanly possible in this back half of the season. And one of Coach's tough jobs is to ensure that happens, sometimes against the wishes of his players.
So you mentioned back half of the season, and for Coach Debelak and his Spartan staff and the Spartan football team, that's really when the rubber hits the road. Because if you look at the President's Athletic Conference, you've got Case Western Reserve that's undefeated. You've got Grove City, the defending champions. You've got Carnegie Mellon. You've got Washington Jefferson. Those 4 teams, top 4 teams in the conference, they don't see those 4 teams to the back end of the schedule that will start in about 2 weeks. So they're trying to be game ready, trying to be healthy, and then trying to take care of business as much as they can. We're going to talk to Coach Debs, or actually the Vice President of Communications at Case Western Reserve is going to talk to Coach Debs in our Talk with the Coach, and that's next as we get ready to take on St. Vincent. The Bearcats are in town to take on the Spartans. Next.
At University Hospitals Gruzinski Sports Medicine Institute, we believe all big games are created equal. So when Lulu came to us with a sports injury, she received the same level of care as Cleveland Browns star running back Nick Chubb. Sure, they may dominate different leagues, but our all-star team treats both the Pee-wees and the pros, because your comeback is our victory, and we want to develop the best care plan for you. And for you.
Hello and welcome inside DeSanto Field. I'm John Schwartz. Alongside me is Case Western Reserve University head football coach Greg Debelak. Coach, coming off another big win the last week against Allegheny, 58-14 on the road. Take us through that game. Obviously, just another strong overall performance from your team that's all they've done so far throughout the season.
Yeah, it started from the opening kickoff, ran it back for a touchdown, first one since 2019. What a great way to start a game. We felt the defense could really control the game from there, and the offense was not as sharp as in previous weeks, but that was good to kind of experience that and see the kids kind of work their way through that. But yeah, we're playing at a very high level, and it seems that every week somebody is stepping up statistically or just on the field and to make big plays, and it's not been any single person. It certainly has been a well-rounded team victory over the first 4 weeks.
Well, and to talk about someone who's probably been a little bit unheralded in terms of his role on the team this year, Bo Wolf returning that opening kickoff back. It was the second longest kickoff return for a touchdown in program history. Talk about what he's done for the team, not just on kick returns, but punt returns too, where he had a 34-yard punt return in that game as well.
Yeah, Bo has some explosive speed, and he has the knack of finding seams in defenses and return units. Yeah, he's an explosive player, and that is the one position at offensive skill. We have a lot of depth and guys that can make explosive plays. So it was great to see Bo being featured this week, and hopefully as a receiver, he'll have more opportunities in the future to be that guy.
You know, the other guy to reflect on a second is Alex Fromberg, who's really continued his strong start to the season at quarterback. His journey from sitting for 3 years behind Drew Saxton, who was one of the better quarterbacks in program history, now to assuming that starting role last year and really elevating his play again. Talk about his journey, where he's come, and what he's done as quarterback of this team.
Yeah, it's a great story, and Drew Saxton, I think, is legitimately one of the best quarterbacks to ever play here, and was rewarded as such with many awards. And I think it was a combination of sitting behind and learning. But then when he had his opportunity and got more reps, he became, I think, a quarterback that I viewed him as a running quarterback that could also throw the ball. And he's turned into a quarterback that can just read defenses, throw the short, the intermediate, the deep ball. We've not run him much this year. And he's become even a better player than last year. That last year he ended the season as our all-time leader in passing efficiency. So it's a great story, and just a tribute to Alex and persevering and learning. And when he had his opportunity, he was ready for it.
We'll get to this week's opponent in St. Vincent in just a second, but I want to talk a little bit about the schedule for you guys, because, again, the results have certainly been resounding. It's over 40 points in every game, keeping the other team under 14 in each game. But maybe doing against some competition that's going to be a little bit less difficult than what you'll face at the end of the season. We spoke about this before, but how are you approaching, again, keeping the team grounded through some of these early results, knowing that's some of your toughest competition?
Well, we just spoke yesterday in our team meeting. The average halftime score has been 43-5. So very proud of how we're executing. We're doing it with basically the same players we had on the roster last year, and they're playing at a much higher level. So whoever we're playing against, that's great football. We recognize that the top teams in our league we're going to play over the last 4 weeks, and we aren't looking past teams, but we're doing some things in practice to kind of prepare us for that. We're going a lot of first-team offense versus first-team defense because we feel we need that competition. We haven't face the greatest competition yet, but there's no better offense or defense that we're going to face than each other. I truly believe that. So we've been doing more of that, and the kids are focused. They're not going to look past anybody. They want their opportunity to shine. So I'm really not worried for guys looking ahead. One of the problems we've had is we have not played a full 4-quarter game. So we're doing some things just strength conditioning wise, and again on the practice field, that can help us with that. So when we need to play 4 quarters of football with our starters, that they're ready to do that.
So this week facing St. Vincent, coming back home for the first time in just about a month to play that game. Talk about what you've seen in St. Vincent so far and their game film so far. What can we expect to see from the opponent this week?
Yeah, last year when we faced St. Vincent, we struggled offensively. We scored 19 points, 3 points in the first half. So we've stressed that look, this is a team that plays very sound defense. You can't just show up and just claim the victory, and they don't give up a ton of big plays over the last few weeks. So I've challenged the offense that we need to execute at the level we've been doing and make up for last year's really poor showing. And offensively, they have 2 big running backs, and they're very smart on how they use them. So yeah, every week there's going to be some, challenges. And this week, I think it would be a defense that lately has not given up big plays, and we're a big play offense. How are we going to respond to that? And defensively, they are a physical football team that wants to run the ball, and let's take that challenge on.
Greg, thank you very much. We'll be back in just a few minutes for kickoff. Case Western Reserve University taking on the Bearcats of St. Vincent at 7 o'clock kickoff when we return.
To be able to say you learned poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You know, you come out on the other side and just realize, like, wow, like, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
Spartans on the field. You see them breaking the banner here on what is turning out to be a beautiful setting here at DeSanto Field. It's always a beautiful setting here at DeSanto Field. But when you get to play a night game and you've got a sky like you've got tonight, they say that there are storms moving in, so that means there are clouds and you see the colors. It's just a great place to play football. I know, Jay, this is your first experience here as a coach when you walk into this place. Can you tell me kind of how it makes you feel?
There's a nostalgia here. Like, this is, you know, if you're going to play D3 football, I don't know why you would go anywhere else. I mean, it's a perfect setting to just enjoy the game, whether you're a fan or a broadcaster or a player. It's a perfect setting to play this game.
So, Jay, let's talk about what we heard Coach Debelak just say, and he was mentioning how he's trying to keep his team, you know, ready to go. As we see at midfield, the coin toss is happening, and he talked about the big leads and the big wins that he's had and how it's important to stay focused early. I thought it's important to get your thought and, you know, to further that point by Coach Debs.
Well, when you know you have big games coming up at the end of the season, you know, towards that back half of the season, it's like a stock, right? You want to be trending up no matter what you're doing. You know, everybody likes to say a win is a win. Well, you can play poorly and win, and that never sits well with you as a coach. It's a very uncomfortable feeling to think that you're regressing as a team. You want to be trending up. Doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter what the score is. You want to see your team improve, and I think that's why it's really important for Case to get off to a good start tonight so that they can see that improvement week to week early on in the game.
So St. Vincent won the toss. They elected to defer, so they will give the football to Case Western first. So the Spartans offensively are going to have an opportunity to do just exactly what you just said, Jason. When you looked at the team this week, and let's start with the offense because that's who's going to get the football first, what were some things that stood out to you? Because you had a chance to look at all four victories, you know, the 4 games that have been played to this point so far, as from the coach's lens. What stood out to you?
We love big plays. You know, fans, coaches, everybody loves big plays. It's a big play offense. It's a strike quick offense. They're like lightning, man. They go and they pick up yards in chunks, and it's fun to watch, really fun to watch.
Well, there's the leader of that offense, the leader of this entire program. Greg Debelak has been the leader, the head football coach here at Case Western Reserve. This is now his 21st season. He's got 142 wins, only 58 losses. Coach Debs and his Spartans have been into the NCAA playoffs, postseason 5 times. He's won 6 University Athletic Association titles and 2 President's Athletic Conference championships. So he is a future Hall of Famer in everybody's book. Case Western comes in 4-0. There's a look at that sideline for the Bearcats of St. Vincent College. Their head coach is Aaron Smetanka, and Aaron's in his 16th season. That's not Aaron in that shot, but nonetheless, 19-31. Aaron is in his 6 seasons at St. Vincent. They are 1-4 on the year, and the only win so far for the Bearcats is at Allegheny in week 2. Back a month ago on September 14th, they knocked off Allegheny 41-20. Their last game, they lost to Geneva in a tight one, 16-13. The Bearcats did. The Spartans in their last game, they were in Allegheny, and they won that one big. 58-14 is the final. Set to return for Case Western. 2 of their top players, Ben Wolf there on the far right, number 6, and Gage Dusler in the upper left-hand side of your screen, number 2. Spartans in their grays tonight with the white numbers, the white helmets. Talking to Director of Athletics, TJ Shelton, beforehand, Jay and I on the field near the goalpost that the Bearcats will kick into. And TJ was saying he loves the white helmets with the gray uniforms. Makes them pop. So this is Dusler, and Gage right up the middle. Gage with a good run, and Gage Dusler is going to give his Spartan offense wonderful field position to start their first offensive possession. They'll have it at the 33-yard line. Dusler, a senior out of Avon Lake. He has been a very good player for this football program. So the offense will be led by their quarterback, senior Alex Fromberg. Fromberg, a 6'2", 200-pound senior. There's Alex, number 9. He comes into today with nearly 1,000 yards passing. And the thing that stands out to me, Jay, 60 of 90 passing the football. That is a nearly 70% success rate as a quarterback.
It's incredible. You know, first things first, though, St. Vincent smartly not kicking to Bo Wolf there, who returned the opening kickoff last week for a touchdown.
This is Kapsick with a big hole on the right side, and Andy Kapsick takes that opening handoff and goes all the way up to the 49-yard line. So let's look at that right side of that offensive line. They've got Thifner at center, Zach Miller at right guard, and Owen Meyer at right tackle. You got some big guys there that you can run behind.
Interesting that the right tackle's 6 foot 255. Normally you're used to seeing a little bit taller guys out there on the edge, but you know they must like to run right, because that dude's a bulldozer.
That's Owen Meyer, number 77. You see him in the shot right there, breaking the huddle. Meyer with Thivner, 68, and 67, Peter Kelly. 1st and 10 Spartans, opening drive, and we've got a whistle, and it's a timeout early. So
timeout.
Let's get into Greg Debelak's headset for a second here. Timeout by the hometown team. What's this about?
That's okay. You know, just get your personnel right. You know, must have got a little bit twisted up with the formation there. It's okay. You know, it happens. And again, opening drives are key. You want to throw that first punch, right? You want to be the one on the board first. So get your personnel right, get everything right so that this first drive goes well.
Well, you saw a great shot by our production team of Coach Debs walking out of that timeout huddle, and he's just shaking his head. Have you ever met a head football coach or a head coach in any sport, Coach Ward? I'll call you Coach Ward because you're a football coach who's in a good mood. They're always frustrated about something, right? Ornery.
Listen,
like the word ornery.
I'm smiling a lot more now that I'm not coaching than I was
when you're retired.
When
So this is Fromberg, and he'll hand it off again, and this is Andy Kapsick again. Now, Andy's an interesting story. Andy's a first-year player, number 30 here for Case Western, 5'9", 180 pounds. He's from Kirtland, played his high school ball at the Gilmore Academy, and he has put himself into a position, Jay, where the coaches can't keep him off the field. He needs to be on the field. If you talk to coaches, they say, we need to find a way to use
we have to find a spot for him,
this
right.
young man.
Notice he ran right there behind big Owen Meyer again. 2nd
and 6. Fromberg's going to keep this one, and Alex is going to get the first down and
tough run
a little bit more. You know, Alex Fromberg, one of the things that they're trying to do with him right now in the early part of the season, and we're actually at the midpoint tonight, Fromberg, no huddle, they'll go quickly. Kapsick's going to take it. Andy with a nice cut back, and Andy's straight up the middle. He's going to get near the 25-yard line. They're trying to limit the amount of times that Alex Fromberg runs with the football.
When you're 60 of 90, I can understand why.
And the second reason, they don't want to get him hurt.
Right.
They don't need to get him hurt right now.
Right.
There will be a time, and there's a great shot of the beautiful setting here tonight at DeSanto Field. And the sun setting in the west.
It's like college football heaven out here. Beautiful.
That's Kapsick, number 30. Kapsick comes into tonight averaging 9 yards per carry. And he has done nothing to hurt that yards per carry average in this opening drive. It's Fromberg. Looks left. This is Alec Angelo with it. And Alex going to get up near the 22-yard line.
St. Vincent bringing a little pressure right there. No problem for Case up front.
If you're St. Vincent and you're facing an offense like Case Western that's averaging 50 points per contest, how do you game plan for that?
Well, look, I mean, I understand sitting in a cover 4 and not wanting to get beat deep over the top, but they're mowing them down up front right now. There's only so much time you can stay with 6 in the box and you know, hope to slow these guys down. They're going to have to drop one down to stop this run.
Spartans with the ball to 22. That's Fromberg. And that's Noah Coyne with the catch at the 15. And Noah Coyne is a young man we'll talk a lot about tonight. We've talked a lot about him in his 4-year career. here at Case Western. Coin wears 14. He's on the receiving end here. He's 6'4", 225, and he's got speed. We were talking to Drew Saxton, the former quarterback, who is now a coach on this staff before the game. There are NFL scouts coming to Case Western Reserve to look at Noah Coin.
That combination of size and speed you don't get very often, you know, and I can see why he's attractive to those scouts, that's for sure.
So Fromberg in this offense, methodically moving. Alex looking left. Now he's going to roll right. And the Spartans are inside the 5-yard line. That's Ethan Dahlem with the catch for Case Western. Dahlem, the senior out of Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania.
A little bit of leakage up front there. Nice job escaping the pocket by Fromberg, getting it out into that same area. Those guys are dropping off deep, those corners.
Second
they won't
and
now,
one.
though, not on the goal line.
The Spartans can get a first down. They're at the 5. Kapsick is right behind his quarterback. Sean Michael James is the fullback, the blocking back, now in motion. And they'll run behind him.
Nice kick out by him. I want to see him stay on that block just a little bit longer, but got his head inside, opened up a nice hole.
Sean Michael James wears number 1. And when you see him on the field, he's there for 2 reasons. Or mostly for 1 reason, to block. And secondly, he's a weapon out of that backfield. If you forget about Sean Michael James, he'll make you pay for it. That's him right there behind his quarterback. Fromberg's under center. Kapsick in motion, got the handoff, and that's easy money. Andy Kapsick with the opening touchdown for the Spartans on their first drive. What do you see there, Coach Ward?
Yeah, St. Vincent lined up in double A gap there with their tackles, and certainly if we can see it, the Case coaches can see it. If they're going to line up in double A gap, then they're going to run off tackle, and that's exactly what they did. Opened up a nice hole, just collapsed it down inside. Nice job on the edge, and walk-in touchdown for the Spartans.
Gabe Petrozzi in to kick the point after touchdown for Case Western. And the opening drive is a successful one. 9 minutes, 50 seconds left to play in this opening quarter. And the Spartans are on the board first on a night where we expect to see a lot of scoring from this Case Western offense. It's 7-0. We'll be back.
Poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You know, you come out on the other side and just realize, like, wow, like, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
Because if you're like this,
7-0 Spartans.
End up like this anyway.
That opening drive was impressive. And I've got to wonder, and when St. Vincent won the coin toss and they elected to defer and give the ball to Case Western to start the football game, you're giving the ball to an offense that's averaging 50 points per game when you're trying to get off to a good start as the underdog. So I wondered why they did that.
Sometimes it's just what you do. It's a habit thing. You defer. I mean, it's pretty common now. Well, everything that you just said makes total sense. But, yeah, it can be just habit for a team.
That was Keegan O'Brien on the kickoff return.
Find me one thing Case did wrong on that opening drive. I mean, that's flawless. That was flawless. I mean, double teams at the point of attack, hitting, again, with the accuracy from Fromberg. Tough runs, good routes, flawless first drive.
Number 19 is the quarterback. That's Jarrett Yonker. And the quarterback situation, Yonker's just a sophomore, not listed as a starter, not listed as a backup, but playing tonight here at Case Western. This is the handoff. This is Dante Sanders. And with a great tackle in the open field is Osi Chukwucha. Osi, the cornerback, a solid corner for the Spartans. The situation at quarterback right now for St. Vincent is kind of a uncertain or an unsteady position. So Yonker gets the start tonight. Lewandowski is the typical starter. And when you have an uncertain situation at quarterback, how does that affect the offense in general, Jay?
Well, you know you're going to be leaning on your run game. You're going to be leaning on your offensive line. And that's another situation. Once again, Ron, if we know it, Case knows it. So they're going to load up the box. Not so much right now, but they're going to load it up and key on that run. There's another problem with
a new quarterback.
A new quarterback is the exchange.
Jay, I want to talk to you about that. You mentioned the defensive front, so let's just talk about the front seven, the 3 down linemen, the 4 linebackers that play behind them. If you look at them, there's a lot of experience in those 7 players.
Well, yeah. I mean, 6 grads, right? 6 grad students. I think, what did we say, 4 seniors and a junior, 3 other seniors and a junior. So a ton of experience, a ton of aggressiveness. One of the things that popped on this defense for me when I was watching throughout the week was just the downhill play. Everybody moving forward. And then you get a corner like Osi coming up and making a hit like on that first play. What a luxury.
Run again, this one in the backfield, and it will be not successful. That's Caden Tong, number 10, with a tackle for that Spartan defense. Tong's one of those grad students on that defensive line.
Look at him fighting through. Great job. Oh, that was
actually, that wasn't Tong. That was Sakalo. It was Nathan Sakalo coming up from his safety spot. No, it was Tong. 10 looked like 6, or does 6 look like 10?
That was Sakalo.
Boy, when the jersey crunches like that, a 0 can look like a 6 in a heartbeat. So here's the punt. And the Spartans are going to get real good field position. Bo Wolf made it interesting, but Case Western will have the football 1st and 10 at their 46.
Coach talked about the improvement in special teams when we were having a conversation before the game. Nice to recover that little muff there.
Boy, offensively, go ahead.
Yeah, you look at St. Vincent and 2 of those runs were blocked up really nice, but just the downhill play of this Case defense, really, really impressive.
Spartans on the year, averaging 55 points per game. In the offense that you're looking at right now, that's Kavsik, the lone back of the backfield. Fromberg over the middle, that's Noah Coyne. Coyne at 6'4", is a target that not many people at this level can defend. And it took nearly the entire St. Vincent team to bring him down.
Showing great toughness there, too. That's something those scouts are going to love as well. They're going to love his size. They're going to love his speed. But when you can show an intangible like that, really it's tangible because we just saw it, right? He just showed it. You've got toughness. You're fighting for those extra yards. It's a great thing.
It was a pickup of 6. It's 2nd and 4 for Case Western. So what's happening there in that little bunch?
Just don't want to give anything away too early. Thinned out down here.
This is Aaron Phillips, the backup, now in at quarterback, and he's going
to have some fun.
Throw it to Fromberg. Alex is going to throw it back, and that's a touchdown. Aaron Phillips is going to go in. So Phillips, the back quarterback, took the snap, threw it to the starting quarterback, who was in the left slot, and he threw it back to Phillips for a touchdown.
Let's have some fun. Love it. Love it. Bunch up, sprint to the formation, make them think, and then hit them with some trickeration, Ron.
I wonder if Drew Saxton called that play. He's
Maybe.
The former Spartan quarterback who calls the plays for the JV team, and Coach Debs was busting chops saying that Drew loves to call double passes, and that one worked to perfection.
If he didn't call it, he sure liked it.
Jay, you mentioned one of the things that popped to you this week as you watched the first 4 games on film is big plays, and that was one of them.
Big chunks.
Offside.
Gotta love it.
Receiving team number 8.
And I'll tell you, there's no better feeling than who knows when they put that in, Ron, but you practice that throughout the week. The kids love it. They love seeing it on the play sheet. They love seeing it on the practice plan. They love running it. And when that call comes in from the sideline to run that play, there's a little extra jolt in that huddle.
Kick is up and good. We're not even midway through this first quarter. Spartans up 2 touchdowns, 14-0. Nice crowd here tonight at DeSanto Field on a beautiful fall October evening. We'll be back.
At University Hospitals through Zinski Sports Medicine Institute, we believe all big games are created equal. So when Lulu came to us with a sports injury, she received the same level of care as Cleveland Browns star running back Nick Chubb. Sure, they may dominate different leagues, but our all-star team treats both the Pee-wees and the pros, because your comeback is our victory, and we want to develop the best care plan for you. And for you.
Julian Walker will take it at the goal line. And if there's something that St. Vincent needs is good field position, and they're going to get it with that great return. So if you're the Bearcats, down early, 14-0, and just 6 minutes gone in this football game, and you know it's going to be a struggle all night long, is maybe your best defense a sustainable offense right now, an offense that methodically can move down and take time off the clock?
Absolutely. You want to keep that defense off the field here as long as possible. You know, you usually script out your first 10 plays or so, and you come out and you go 3 and out with that script that you've been thinking about and working on all week. That's tough.
Quick pass. And it will lose 2 yards. The offense this year for St. Vincent, after 5 games, they're 1-4, is averaging just 222 yards in offense per game. And you may say, well, that's still 222. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things and you compare it to, say, someone like Case is averaging 501 yards in offense total per football game. Bearcats will run it. This is Saunders, and he fumbled it, but he fumbled it out of bounds. He's down at the 40.
Oshie with another. Man, when you get corner play, physical corner play like that, that's going to light everybody up.
Oshie from Wilmington, Delaware.
Man.
5'9", 180. Number 4. As a look at those down linemen for the Spartans, Tong and Dodowski and Jace Merritt, all 3 grad students.
3rd and 11's not where they want to be. Not against this defense.
This is Yonker, and here comes that defense, and Yonker is going to just get eaten alive. He got sandwiched between Caden Tong and A.J. Dodowski. Even when you know it's coming, it's hard to get away from it.
We talked earlier today about wearing that number 0. If you're going to wear number 0, you better be a doggone good player. And he showed it there, man.
That's Dodowski, the grad student out of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. A.J. has been an outstanding football player on this Spartan defense for a very long time.
Dodowski and Tong are so active for 3-4 defensive ends. A lot of times in an odd front, those defensive ends they're kind of pluggers. You know, they're kind of taking up space so that your inside linebackers can run around and make plays, but they are extremely active.
Coach Debelak on the sideline, sporting the readers tonight. I'm not sure that I've ever seen Coach Debs in the reader glasses, but he looks good in them.
It's a big decision for a coach. You know,
when to go to the readers.
It's a. I remember, you know, coaching my first game in glasses, and it was a little deflating, I have to say.
So this is Phillips in at quarterback again. Here's Aaron looking to throw deep, and he'll dump it off, and that's Ethan Dahlem with the catch at the 46-yard line. So Phillips is coming out, and Fromberg will come back in.
So again, if you're going to play that much cover 4, and if you're that worried about getting beat deep, I mean, there's a route that basically just a stop route at 10 yards that, that wasn't a missile he threw over there, but he had plenty of time to get it there because the corner dropped off so deep.
Jay, how would you like to be a college student living in your dorm, have a balcony, and it overlooks the football field?
Would love it. I would absolutely love it. And I wouldn't be in there by myself, I'll tell you that.
You'd have a party every night.
Let's go, absolutely.
And that is the setting here at DeSanto Field as the Spartans continue to move that football. That's Dylan Cave with the reception on the near sideline. Cave wearing number 13, the junior out of Malvern, Pennsylvania. It's an embarrassment of riches almost offensively for Alex Fromberg to go to. He's got Coyne, Dahlem, Cave, Angelo, to throw to. There will be, at some point tonight, 5 running backs that carry the football. Sean Michael James is the fullback in the backfield right now with his quarterback. And Sean Michael will get the handoff.
First down.
Needed a yard, got a couple more. We're 9 minutes into this first quarter, and the Spartans with 2 offensive possessions and 2 touchdowns. We're going to have the commissioner of the President's Athletic Conference, Joan Derko. Joe will visit us at halftime. A lot to talk about as the Pac is midway through this football season, and they've got some real good teams. You look at Washington and Jefferson and Grove City and Carnegie Mellon and Case and even Westminster has done in this first half of the season. It's been outstanding. This is Fromberg. He'll throw it again. Alex with patience, and it turns into an incomplete pass. Good coverage that time.
Really good coverage downfield. They sent 4 routes into the teeth of that cover 4 that time. They had the underneath if they wanted it, and he took it, just didn't complete it.
Just got a text message from head coach Jennifer Reimer, the women's basketball coach, the winningest all-time basketball coach here at Case Western Reserve on the women's side, and she got a chuckle out of the Debs Readers comment. Call him Professor Debs.
Oh,
she
nice.
said. Pass over the middle. That's complete, and that's Angelo. And Alec all the way down inside the 25-yard line.
A lot of people would look at that play and think that's an RPO. I don't think that was an RPO. I think that was play action all the way, hit the glance route, well designed.
That's Angelo, number 7, junior. He's caught 14 passes in the first 4 games. Spartans with the football at the 22 of the Bearcats. Kavsik, the back in the backfield. That's Andy, the first-year player. Alex looking left, quickly left, and in and out of the hands. Dylan Cave out there, talking to Drew Saxon, probably the best quarterback that's played here. He's a coach now. Jason and I were talking to Drew before the game. He said when he played in Germany, when he played over in Europe, because there's another guy who got NFL scout looks, Drew did, as a senior here at Case. He had to teach those receivers, if I put the ball on the outside part of your body, I want you to go with the ball after you catch it, and that's kind of what Fromberg did with Cave there. It almost looked like Dylan's body was fighting the direction that the ball was going.
It's next level stuff, and like he said, it's a relationship thing. You have to be together for a long time to develop that type of chemistry.
This is Andy Kavsik on a quick little pass. Andy breaking tackles, and he gets all the way inside the 15-yard line. Before the season started, talking to Coach Debs about his football team this year, he said, Ron, you've got to watch number 30. He said people can't tackle him. Look, breaks a tackle there, spins out of another one there, breaks that one too, and gets the ball. He probably got 6 yards after his initial hit, and I think it was 4 tackles that he broke, Jay.
He's slippery.
Yeah.
He's slippery. 3rd down.
3rd and short. Spartans with the football inside the 15. Sean Michael James leading the blocking. Kavsik going to go right behind him. Andy will get the first down, and he is still not down. They'll blow him down at the 9-yard line. Back to Coach Reimer for a second, the women's basketball coach. Jen, good friend. Been a coach for a long time here at Case. I think the season starts in a couple of weeks. I think it might be time for Jen to start wearing readers as well. I think it's, although with her, she is very demonstrative on the sidelines in the gymnasium, and she may just bounce those things right off the bridge of her nose. So
I would
maybe
never say it's
thing.
time for anybody to wear readers.
3 seconds left in this first quarter.
Bitter pill to swallow.
That is the end of the first quarter.
And that'll wrap up the first quarter. Hopefully I still get to call women's basketball games after saying Coach Reimer, it's time for her to get the readers.
You might want to check on that after the game.
We'll be back. Second quarter is next. Spartans up 2 touchdowns.
To be able to say you learned poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You come out on the other side and just realize, like, wow, like, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
The Case Western Reserve Band in attendance tonight. And in that shot right there, you can really kind of get a feel for what a beautiful night it is tonight. Fromberg with the football. He'll fake the handoff and throw a pass, and that was disrupted by that linebacker coming in.
Good call. Bringing pressure off the edge right there.
For St. Vincent, that was number 40, Lucas Moore. Moore, first-year player for that Bearcat defense.
A lot of times you invite that pressure in hopes that that back could leak out right behind him, but didn't work out that way.
Fromberg to throw.
Good protection.
Over the middle, back end zone, touchdown, Noah Coyne. Perfect pass, Coyne with perfect feet placement, and the Spartans have their third touchdown of the night. Boy,
Pretty clean pocket to throw
easy
from.
looking, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can wait for him to come all the way across the field like that when you have that kind of time.
Jay, that's a great pass. I mean, Coyne wasn't that open.
No, he wasn't, but when you don't have pressure, it's easier to place the ball like that. Think about how much easier it is to complete a pass like that when you can really hone in on your technique, when you really have time to throw the ball the way you're supposed to throw it instead of being on your back foot or running for your life,
9 seconds into the second quarter, it's 21-0 Spartans.
You give a talented, accurate passer that kind of time, he could do some pretty special things from there.
A year ago, this game was in Latrobe, and at halftime, it was 3-0. Jay, as we talked to Coach Debs on the field before the game tonight, it was interesting to hear Coach Debs say, listen, we didn't do some things right. And then he said in self-analysis, I probably didn't coach a very good first half either. So it was important for him and his team to get off to the kind of start that they've gotten off to tonight.
So what do, right? You throw it to Noah Coyne, your NFL scouted receiver. You get behind Sean Michael James, right? You run behind that big fella. Sometimes we make this game a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Run behind your toughest kids, throw to your most talented receiver.
Brody Roth taking the headset or the helmet off there. That was a great special teams tackle by the senior, Brody Roth. Yeah, it is important to remind yourself from time to time. Sometimes if we just do what we do well, we don't need to do anything special. If we do enough simple things right, that turns into special, right?
Simple is always better in this game. The more you can simplify, the faster your players are going to play.
Bearcats with some real work to do. They'll go back to their talented running back, Dante Sanders, but Sanders really hasn't had an opportunity, has he?
No, that front, that defensive line and those linebackers are playing downhill. And, one of the players that gets lost in the shuffle a lot of times in an odd front is that nose guard. And we've got big number 98 in the game.
That's Joe Mealy.
Joe Mealy. And I'll tell you what, he took on 2 blocks right there and did not move. He's like a fire hydrant in there. Did a heck of a job on that last play.
And Joe transferred from offensive line to defensive line. Not transferred schools. He's always been a Spartan, but he moved to the other side of the field to play defense. Is that an easy transition, Jay, or not?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
he was
not.
Center
there's a
and
whole,
went to the flip side.
It's a whole different mindset. It is not easy at all. But that mindset, that physical, aggressive mindset that you have to play this game certainly helps.
So that's a first down for St. Vincent, their first of the game. Bearcats down 21-0. This is Sanders with a football, and that running game's going absolutely nowhere. How important is it, though, to be able to establish a running game, even when you're down 21-0?
Well, you're asking either the in my mind, to win football games, you need to be able to run the football and stop the run on defense. That's my opinion. Now, there's certainly a lot of people that would disagree with that, but I think at the heart of this game, you've got to be able to run the football and stop the run on defense. And if you can't establish it, you're in for a long night.
Yonker on second and long. He'll throw it. And that's patience, and that turns into a completion and a nice one.
It's a nice job by Yonker there, getting out of trouble, rolling to his right, finding the open guy. Good placement.
You'll see Chris Downs at the end here with a nice catch, keeping his feet in bounds. So that gives them third and possible. It's 1 yard. It's A.J. Dodowski wearing number 0, and then Joe Mealy, 98, next to him.
It's funny you say that. My eyes were going to be on Dodowski on this play right here. Let's see how 0 does.
3rd and 1.
Double teamed, slides off.
Sanders
nice job.
Needed to get to the 49. He needed only a yard. He'll get 2.
St. Vincent trying to establish something here offensively. Get their defense just a little bit of rest. They've been on the field this whole game.
So, Jay, when you look at the line play, the offense against the defense along the line, and how do you identify, other than the obvious that yards are being gained, that there's a physicality war that's being won by one side or the other? Is it leverage? Is it pure strength, athletic ability?
Higher helmets, right? Whose helmets are above whose? That's really the tell, right? So you're going to see, as you start to hone in on this yourself, that on any given play, Case's helmets are lower than St. Vincent's. They're playing lower, and low man wins in football. It's a lot like wrestling, right?
Right.
If you're a wrestling guy, low man wins. Case is winning the battle of the line of scrimmage. The other thing that I look for too is how often are these double teams that St. Vincent are using? How often are these double teams actually getting movement? I don't see a whole lot of that. They're getting 2 guys on 1, but these guys are holding their ground big time.
2nd and long, Yonker to pass, and that one's incomplete. Putting pressure on him was A.J. Dodowski.
I like Dodowski's game. I really do. Just watching him throughout the week, he plays through the whistle, plays with energy. He's an energy creator for his defense. Really like the way he plays the game.
Dudowski, grad student. Merritt, grad student. Caden Tong, grad student. Gabe Trock, linebacker, grad student. Sean Torres, linebacker, grad student. That defense is spotted with grad students. This is basically the same football team that played last year, and they were good last year. This year they're even better.
Bringing heat.
3rd and long, and here it comes. Quick release, and that release, there was a miscommunication. Receivers cutting in, pass goes sideline, and it's a 4th down for St. Vincent.
What do you think Tong said to the quarterback right there? Good idea. Get rid of the ball.
Or all night long,
yeah,
I'll be
all
here.
night long, yep.
There's Ossie, that cover corner. that Jay likes.
Man.
First impressions, Coach Ward, of OC have been good for you, haven't they?
Physical corner play.
Bo Wolf's going to stand back at his 10.
Boy.
Ball's out at the 23, and that's where Case Western will start again. It's a good look at our great production team. Jeff and Andrew running the cameras, replay Kevin Gibson, and then Mike Becker, our director.
Well, for St. Vincent, at least they were able to take some time off the clock, get their defense rested up a little bit.
Fromberg at quarterback. Phillips has played a little quarterback tonight as well. New back in the backfield, it's Mitchell Waite. Looking like they're setting up a screen, and Waite fell down.
The quarterback was in the pocket. There was an eligible receiver. The ball was thrown near him. Incomplete pass, second down.
So Waite, 22, was in front of his quarterback if we see the replay, and he fell down, and I think that's why Fromberg just threw it into the dirt.
Yeah, you have to do that at that point. You know, there's nobody else. It's a design screen. Your linemen are downfield, so you have to throw it. You can't throw it down the field, so smart play.
Alex looks over the defense. Coming into tonight, he had thrown for nearly 1,000 yards in 4 games, 985. He's going to run this one. He can run it. There's a flag down. Fromberg's going to get up all the way near the 40, but I think this one's coming back. Have you identified the offensive lineman with the hold, Coach Ward?
I believe so. I believe it was the tight end on that side.
Holding. Offense number 60. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
Left tackle David Friedman.
Guess it wasn't the tight end. Case likes this trips tight formation, we call it, where you've got trips lined up, and it's not this one, but picture that flanker back in at tight end. It's one of the reasons why they're getting such great pass protection. They've got an extra guy in, and they're still able to run their trips concepts out here. It's a good formation.
So that's Waite, and your shot next to Fromberg is quarterback. Mitchell Waite, the sophomore running back from Mentor High School. Fromberg with pressure, and Alex is going down. Haven't seen that tonight.
Friedman got out over the top of him. He just kind of ripped back underneath and was able to make the play. Not a bad start there to the play for Friedman, just kind of lost him.
90 in your shot right there is Peyton Horovchak. Peyton, the right defensive end, junior out of Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
See, now they're back to having a tight end on that side to help Friedman out.
Spartans need 23. Fromberg's going to throw it deep. It's caught by Coyne. And Noah with a nice cut after the catch, and he gets up to the 27, so he's still going to be about 8 yards short of that first down. But if he could break one more tackle, I think he's got a first down. It was a real nice tackle that time by Keshawn Davis.
Yeah, Keshawn Davis did a really nice job sticking with it there. Tough guy to stick with.
First punt of the night for the Spartans.
2 returners back.
Joseph Rhodes, the 5th, will punt it. And he's going to run it. And it's going to be a successful first down run. I got to tell you, St. Vincent had no idea that was coming.
Oh, yeah.
And we got lots of extracurricular activity. There was no one around when Joe Rhodes took that punt and said, let's run with this thing. That's a design play. It's not Rhodes
Absolutely,
identifying.
Yeah, they saw something throughout the week that they liked on that. Oftentimes, if you get those gunners to turn their back,
broke a tackle at the 40. How exciting.
All plays the first down. After the play, personal foul. Receiving team. Number 81, personal foul.
Yeah, I was going to
Kicking
say, I
team.
would be surprised if
Number
that's not
49, those
offsetting.
fouls have offset. Result of the play is first down.
So back to Rhodes for a second, because we saw it on the sideline after the play. How excited is the team when the punter gets to make a play like that?
It sends a jolt of energy throughout the whole team. And really, not just him, but for the coaching staff to call that, again, those are things that you work on every week. They work on that fake punt every single week. A lot of times you don't get to call that throughout an entire season. So when the play call comes in, man, it's exciting for everybody.
That's Alec Angelo with the catch. Angelo's going to pick up 6. It'll set up a second and short situation. Coach Debs talked this week about improved special teams play this year.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Love seeing that. Love seeing the sidelines get fired up over something like that.
It's Waite back in the backfield. Mitchell Waite. We've seen Andy Kavsik. We've seen Sean Michael James. Comes St. Vincent. Fromberg identified. He'll run it. And Alex is still going to lose 2 yards. So when they're successful like that, St. Vincent, is it because they're running containment on the outside? They're forcing Fromberg back to the middle where linebackers are waiting? Why has that been effective defensively for St. Vincent? When they pinch the corners, you know, they bring pressure from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like a design draw to me at first. So, you know, I that's probably something they saw on film. I don't know. You know, you and I know Fromberg's a runner, so they do too. You know, something that they're keeping an eye on.
Fromberg to Waite. This is Mitchell. Mitchell down the sideline. Will anybody get him? And Mitchell's knocked out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Catch and run. Just a quick little dump pass that Mitchell Wade turned upfield, and Spartans in scoring position once again. Case Western came into tonight with a goal early to kind of announce themselves. Last year they thought they played poorly in the first half, led only 3-0. This is Fromberg, looking right, looking left, with pressure, still thinking about throwing. Now he's going to run, and Alex is inside the 10-yard line.
Keshawn Davis out there again, number 7, did a really nice job of sticking to coverage, and then finally coming up and forcing the throw. That is him. Good player.
Sean Michael James will check in. He's in. Alec Angelo will take a seat.
Really caught in no man's land when you've got coverage and you've got a quarterback running your way. It's a tough decision to make of when to leave that coverage and come up and force the quarterback out of bounds. Did a great job.
Handoff. This is Mitchell Waite. And Waite's inside the 5-yard line. The steady but yet not spotlighted work of a blocking fullback, Sean Michael James. You see Sean Michael, he takes that initial block that provides a tiny crease for the running back, and sometimes it's all you need, isn't it, Jay?
It's all you need, you know, especially for somebody like Waite that can really slam it up in there.
Spartans with the ball to 3, looking for their 4th touchdown of the night. Fromberg will give it to Waite. Mitchell breaks a tackle, spins, and falls near the goal line. They'll mark him down at the 1.
Sean Michael James has a really good feel for that kick-out block. He kind of wrapped around the left edge of the offensive line there, found his guy, got his head inside, and rode him out.
Spartans at the 1. Fromberg's going to go under center. He's got Waite and Sean Michael James behind him. Alex will take it himself, that push, and he's in for, they have yet to signal touchdown, and now they do. Well, that one wasn't a double pass, wasn't as exciting as that, but touchdowns are touchdowns.
You think about it, there's 4:23 left on the clock. You know, the fake punt really has got to be, the fake punt and everything that happened after has got to be so deflating for St. Vincent, because they got to stop, right? Their defense was rested. They came out on the field. They got to stop. Offense was going to get the ball back with 6 minutes and some change. 21-0 at that point. Now we've got 4 touchdowns on the board with 4.5 minutes to go in the half. Oh.
And it is 28-0. Spartans in complete command here from DeSanto Field on a beautiful October evening. We'll be back.
To be able to say you learned poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You come out on the other side and just realize, like, wow, like, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
St. Vincent on the kickoff. And the Bearcats will start with the football at their 26-yard line. That's Austin Wells. On the tackle for Case Western, number 21, Braden Frank. Braden, really good special teams player for
Helmet off. 99 has to leave for one play.
Case Western. Is it a tough sell as a coach to make players believe that their play on special teams matters, or do you have guys that really buy into that and just that's what they want to be? They want to make those tackles.
I think the players that are on those teams know that it matters. What's tough is carving out that practice time and getting your entire team to understand how important it is on a daily basis to work on that facet of the game.
That Spartan defense, again, tough against the run. Defensively this year, Case Western has given up only, Jason, 65 yards rushing per game.
It's a great stat. I was looking at it earlier, especially when we were talking about how St. Vincent was going to have to lean on their run game with their quarterback situation in flux. And to give up 65 a game is that's got to check a box on some goal chart here.
Tong and Mealy, some of those down linemen. And making an open field tackle for the Spartans is their linebacker, Gabe Trock. So when a linebacker comes up and makes that tackle, what's happening with the down lineman?
Well, they're doing their job.
They're doing their job,
yeah, they're
right?
doing their job. They're letting those linebackers run free, because if they're not doing their job, then those linemen, somebody's job on that offensive line on that last play was to get up to Trock, right? Was to get off the line of scrimmage and go get him. But when you've got your defensive linemen plugging away, getting hands on, doing what they're supposed to do, it just makes the inside linebacker's job so much easier.
Nate Sicalo back at his safety spot. Nate had a big hit in the first quarter.
Our Lorain County brethren.
Avon Laker. Ooh, pressure and a sack. That's Henry Bush, the junior linebacker, the outside linebacker from Riverside High School. Henry's another guy. When you look, and you identified the two middle guys, Torres and Trock, and Cabrera, when you looked at tape this week, you said, these guys are some good linebackers. And then there's Henry Bush, who oftentimes just gets lost in the conversation because the other three guys are so good, but he's pretty talented himself.
Yeah, you rise to the level of the players that are around you. When you've got a front three like Dodowski, Merritt, and Tong, and then these inside backers. I mean, you're going to have to elevate your play.
2-4-3. 2-4-3. Thank you.
Officials trying to set the game clock back to 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
I love the energy that Case plays with. They're an enthusiastic bunch. You can see that they love being out there, love each other, love the game. Two
of the assistants on Coach Debelak's staff are two guys who, through your nearly 20 years as a head football coach at Columbia High School, you came across.
Right, Coach Ramsey came into the building, with a couple of different schools, and Coach Estep as well. It's a fraternity coaching. You get to know these guys throughout the years, and you look forward to seeing them on the recruiting trail. It's pretty neat.
This is Wolf, catches it and tackled almost immediately, but tackled near midfield. They'll mark him at the 50, and that's where the Spartans will have the football.
Sat in a lot of those conversations, enjoyed it, sitting in a room with the recruiter and our athletes, and the recruiter will leave, and you sit down with your guys and be like, all right, man, if you're going to want to play at a Case or a Baldwin Wallace or a Heidelberg, you better love the game. And that's what I love about being here right now, is that I know each and every one of those guys on that sideline loves everything there is to love about football.
This is Gage Dusler, number 2, the running back now in the game for the Spartans, the 4th back. That's Fromberg, deep left sideline, and it's over the hands over everybody. That was Dylan Cave out there, number 13.
Getting back to that energy that this team plays with, though, it's hard. You're up 28-0. Every game that you've played so far has been lopsided. But you have to play the game that way. Successful teams play with that energy all the time, no matter what the scoreboard says, and I love seeing it.
The scores, as Jason mentioned, 41-7, 64-6, 56-14, 58-14. This one's 28-0. We're not even at halftime. Little bubble screen, Coyne with some blocking in front of him. Noah, some nifty moves, and he's inside the 40-yard line, down at the 38.
And those are probably non-negotiables for this coaching staff, right? We are going to play the game with great energy all the time, and you see it.
Fromberg, quick hit. That's Angelo. Catch. Runs out of bounds. 2 minutes left to play in this first half. Joe Anderko,
Timeout on the field.
the commissioner of the President's Athletic Conference, will join me at halftime to talk about the Pack this year, not only football, but what they've got coming up in the wintertime. Jay, I want to give you an update. Speaking of coming up in the wintertime, I got a response from Spartan head women's basketball coach Jennifer Reimer on my comment about her readers.
Right.
And I'll quote her. She says, "Wait until you see me in my new royal blue readers," because they changed the color this year to royal blue. She says, and on a bad call, and she is a, let's say, entertaining coach on the sideline. And on a bad call, I will launch those into the bleachers for sure. Exclamation point. If you get an opportunity, Jay, this winter, in your boredom, as in your job as athletic director and administrator at Columbia High School, come out and hang with me on a broadcast and watch Coach Reimer coach. I guarantee you will enjoy her enthusiasm and her commitment to
I
her
would
craft.
love it, and I will tell you, accessories are not a good thing for a fiery coach. I know firsthand.
Fromberg and his team trying to add one more score before the half is due. Alex with time, lots of time, looking deep, going to throw it deep, open at the 10, and catching it is Alec Angelo.
Alec Angelo was just floating around down there. He didn't have a guy within 10 yards of him for a lot of that route. Floating around, floating around, floating around. Fromberg finally saw him. He probably saw him earlier than that. He was probably looking into the end zone. But, man, was he open for a while.
Dusler's in the backfield, and Gage is a touchdown machine. Inside the 20, Gage is usually money in the bank when he gets the football. Fromberg's going to throw it, little loft pass, corner, Noah Coyne caught it. All 6'4" of them. That's a touchdown.
Just snatched it right over top of him. Mossed him.
Money in the bank. Coyne at 6'4" against Lamar Daniels, the corner, who's 5'8".
That's cool and all, but kind of makes me sad not to see Sean Michael James down there running somebody over,
Says the coach who loves to run the football. And that is the 5th extra point of the opening half for Gabe Petrozzi.
So
121
here's the
left.
dilemma.
Here's the dilemma. Finish
Right?
your thought.
Here's the dilemma for coach, right? Like, when do you start? I think he's already started getting some guys off the field, but, you know, a lot of times you want your team to go through a halftime, hear the adjustments, come out, make whatever adjustment. Now, these guys don't have a whole lot of adjustments they need to make, but you want them to go through a halftime, maybe take that first drive of the third quarter, and then make your mass substitutions. We'll have to see if that's the case or how they're going to play, if they just put a lot of first years in right after halftime.
Well, Petrozzi is certainly getting his work tonight as the Spartan kicker. This is Austin Wells who'll bring it out.
Great coverage.
If you look ahead, and it's unfortunate with 1:14 still left in the first half that I'm already saying that phrase, if you look ahead, but I mean, that's the reality of this game tonight. The Spartans will get Teal next week, next Saturday. That's a night game, too, at 6 o'clock. And then there's that defense. I mean, give Sanders credit. He never went down, but he just had nowhere to go. They get Teal next week, and then after that,
Ruling on the field. Forward progress will stop. 2nd down.
the season starts. They've got at Westminster, Washington, Jefferson, Grove City, and Carnegie Mellon. So the Spartans have certainly answered their own question tonight. We need to start fast. We need to start early. We need to remember that last year it was 3-0 at halftime against this team. And whether that's, you know, made up inspiration or not, they certainly answered all questions.
There's your boy Henry Bush again, making a name for himself on a star-studded defense. Great job by Dadowski's just wearing people out down there. I mean, he got in the hip pocket of the tackle, allowed Bush to clear. Great job.
Bush 205, 5'11", 205.
Of the first half.
And that is the end of the first half. 35-0. Spartans, the only time they punted tonight, it was a fake punt. And that led to their 5th touchdown of the first half.
I'll go back to what I was saying after the first drive. I mean, what box haven't they checked? I mean, it's domination in every facet of the game here.
We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, the commissioner has stepped into the booth. Joe Onderko, the commissioner of the PAC, President's Athletic Conference, is in the house. We're going to put headsets on him, and we're going to talk PAC athletics. That's coming up next.
At University Hospitals through Zinski Sports Medicine Institute, we believe all big games are created equal. So when Lulu came to us with a sports injury, she received the same level of care as Cleveland Browns star running back Nick Chubb. Sure, they may dominate different leagues, but our all-star team treats both the Pee-wees and the pros, because your comeback is our victory, and we want to develop the best care plan for you. And for you.
The Case Western Reserve University Spartan Marching Band ready to start their halftime show, and they will aggressively approach the 50-yard line. And speaking of aggressive, it has been an aggressive first half for the Spartan football team. 35-0 is the score at halftime. Case Western over St. Vincent. The man next to me is the commissioner. Should I salute you or just
no,
shake your hand?
handshake's good. That's all right, Ron.
Joe Anderko, the commissioner of the PAC, the President's Athletic Conference. Joe, you got a chance tonight to come in here and see, Northeastern Ohio's best football team. And I include that team that plays in the National Football League in that conversation.
I was going to say, we could make a joke about a low bar or something.
This is Northeastern Ohio's best football team.
Case, what can you say? I mean, Greg's team just looks absolutely dominant in every phase tonight and lines up with what we've seen earlier in the season. This is a team that's just really hitting on all cylinders in the first half of the season, and tonight's just another example of it.
You're a fan of sports, obviously, as commissioner of an athletic league, but I mean, you're also a student of the game, not only football but many games, played athletically. What's been most impressive in your mind over the years about a Greg Debelak-led football team?
Well, I'd say a couple things. One, just the way they carry themselves. I was just saying that I think we talked off air about this, and I've said it to other people. I think in 10 years that Case has been in this league, I can't think of a single issue that I've ever had with this program. Even if there was something minor, Greg had it handled before anybody else. Just the professionalism, the way that every detail is handled. Just speaks to the quality of the program and to the quality of the coach and person that Coach Debelak is. The other thing that stands out to me, we have a great football league. I mean, we've got potentially 5 teams that could get top 25 votes this year. When you look at Case's team, they don't necessarily have the size of some of those others, but yet they compete right with them. And I think that speaks to just the tenacity of the players in the program. I think it speaks to how the coaches prepare them and put them in the right places. And I think it denotes the speed that he recruits. Especially, I think he's done a really good job recruiting over in Western Pennsylvania and pulling a lot of kids out of there. And it makes sense. I'm sure he's going to those kids and saying, hey, we're in the PAC. Your parents and your friends and family are going to be able to see a lot of games in Western Pennsylvania. Come here and have a great experience.
You mentioned the 5, the top 5 in the PAC of the 10 teams. Case Western, defending champion Grove City, Carnegie Mellon, Washington and Jefferson, and Westminster.
Right.
So the rubber's really going to hit the road here starting next week.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with Case because they play Teal next week, but, very soon with all of those teams starting to play each other.
Case's schedule this year is almost the exact opposite of what Grove City had a year ago. We commented, I was talking with TJ Shelton from Case, it said the funny thing about last year that felt so odd, Grove City had the 4 that you mentioned in the first 5 weeks of the season and beat them all, including you remember an incredible game in overtime here in Cleveland where the Wolverines just barely outlasted the Spartans. And so from that standpoint, the second half of the season just kind of felt, I don't want to say anticlimactic because they still had games to win, but they really took on the heavy hitters early. Case this year, it's the exact opposite. They've got everybody late. Who did you just say? Westminster, W&J, Grove City, and then of course the Academic Bowl in Week 11 with Carnegie Mellon. So it's going to be a test. It's going to be a real gauntlet, especially the physicality of taking on all those teams back to back to back. But again, Grove City proved it a year ago, and I'm sure Coach Debs and the team here in Cleveland want the same opportunity this year.
So, Joe, keep your commissioner's hat on for a second here with this question. A 10-team league, you've got the haves and the have-nots this year. I mean, there is a clear line between the haves and the have-nots. 5 teams very good, 5 teams that aren't very good. I mean, the scores have been, completely lopsided as we see here tonight. Would you rather see more of a balance, or are you excited about what you said, 5 teams that are potentially getting top 25 votes?
Well, I think 2 things with that, Ron. First of all, it's very unusual to have a conference at any level, but especially in Division III, to have 5 potential top 25 programs. And I think we have that here. Most conferences will have 2, maybe 3. We've had 5 different champions in the last 7 years, and they're all playing at that very, very high level. Grove City got knocked out of the playoffs last year on a missed field goal that would have beat the team that won the national championship.
National championship.
That's how close we are. And you have 4 or 5 programs at that level, I mean, that's a high bar. The second thing I would say, though, is that's not necessarily permanent. We were just talking today about Grove City. Grove City, what was it, 6 years ago?
Yeah, they
was
were
coming off a 33-game losing streak.
Yep.
They lost every game for 3.5 seasons, and now they're the number 7 ranked team in the country. If they can do it, then I believe the other teams in the PAC can do it. And so, it's a matter, I mean, it's not easy. It requires a sustained effort. It requires support of the administrations. But Grove City has shown that, where these teams fall, it's not permanent. You can move either way. And I do think, the one thing I'm proud of in the PAC is I think there's a commitment with all our schools to have quality football programs from top to bottom.
So there was a commitment a couple of years ago where the PAC said we're going to have 10 teams.
Right.
And we're going to have a 10-game schedule of those 10 teams in the PAC. There will be no non-conference games played. Has that turned into a positive or a negative or something that you wish you could tweak?
That's a great question. And, there were mixed feelings about doing that. But you have to understand that decision was made back when we still had a 32-team national tournament. And 28 of those 32 bids go to automatic bids. So our point at the time was, well, we could play out of conference, but how much does that help us in a case where you only have 4 at-large bids for the entire country? Now, this year, that equation has changed. With adding 8 new at-large teams and a 40-team national playoff, now we think it's really advantageous to go to what we're going to do next year, which is everybody's going to have 2 non-conference games to show what we can do out of conference. So the facts on the ground changed, we changed. And, if you had to do over again, I mean, you can't really look at it that way. It was just a different setup then. But facing what we have now, knowing we're going to have a much better chance at-large selections, I think we absolutely need to be playing out of league.
So let's talk about next year.
Yeah.
Carnegie Mellon leaves,
right?
Correct?
Correct.
They will no longer be. They go to the Centennial. Leaves you 9 teams. And I don't know if you want to,
What are we doing?
Are you going to have a 10th team?
We are probably going to go forward. Actually, we'll have 11 teams because we're going to have Hiram coming in as a full member of the PAC next year. So, but we are not going to do a 10-game conference
You're going to have
schedule.
the 2 non-conference.
We're going to have the 2 non-conference.
How will that be determined? Who plays?
It'll be an 8-game unbalanced schedule. You're going to have 2 teams off. You're like, and we've done this before.
Yeah.
When Case and Carnegie both came in 2014, from 2014 to 17, we had this exact model. We did it as a 1-year stopgap in 22 when Allegheny came in because we had 11. So we can do that again. We're working with an outside company that's putting that together for us right now. We've got a lot of kind of guardrails we have to meet to make that happen. But we feel we're going to be in really good place. And ultimately what we want is we want to put whoever our top teams are in the best position possible to get 2 or even 3 teams in the NCAA playoffs.
And I'm guessing, and I'm not in the room when these decisions are made, but I'm guessing you do that with respect to rivalries that stay in place.
Sure.
Meaning, if Carnegie Mellon was still in the pack, you would make sure that Case Western and Carnegie Mellon always played each other. Just like, the Big Ten is no longer the Big Ten.
No, that's right.
But I think they are systematically or, meticulously or on purpose trying to make sure that Michigan always plays Ohio State. You always have
there is some of that. Yeah, and you're right. When we were looking at 12 teams, we had set up a divisional system where it was set up that Case and Carnegie were going to play every year. That was something that both of those schools requested, and we were able to accommodate that. Obviously, that equation changes with Mellon's decision, but we're going to respect natural rivalries. Are we going to have a rivalry week at the end of the season necessarily like we've had? Probably not, because unbalance kind of makes that a little more challenging. But I think there's great respect in our league for the rivalries that have been there for a long time. We want to see those continue, and so we'll do what we need to do to try to make sure that teams are matched up against their rivals every year.
You mentioned 11 teams. So if Hiram replaces Carnegie Mellon, that's 10.
It stays at 11. We're at 11 right now.
You're at 11 right now because you have you don't
so
play
they're basically
Gotcha.
sliding into the Carnegie Mellon spot.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah.
So sell me for a second on the PAC. Tell me why someone wants to be a part of the President's Athletic Conference. You and I are on the elevator, and you've got 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, from a football standpoint, it's what I just said.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another Division III conference in the country that can say they have that many top 25 quality programs. But I think in general, I think our culture is a big selling point. I think we strive to succeed at the highest levels academically and athletically, Academics is still our focus, just like it is here at Case Western Reserve. But I think culture is important. We are about respecting each other. We are about high character, about doing the right thing when nobody's looking. All of those things, I think, are kind of the brand that we've built over 2 decades, and probably more than that. That's just the 2 decades I've been in the conference. And I think you combine that too, Ron, with a footprint where everybody's within 2 hours of each other.
Yeah.
So you never have an overnight trip. You have cost containment. You have less missed class time. Every advantage that a lot of other conferences in the country wish they had, we do have.
So you've been in the President's Athletic Conference for 20 years.
I have.
So you have seen a lot of growth, change, use whatever word you want to use in 20 years. Can you dig in and dial down and maybe identify, 3 things that you think have been monumental in the change of athletics, specifically to the PAC in the last 20 years? Because a lot has happened.
Yeah. Well, I'd pinpoint a couple of spots. One, right after I was hired as commissioner around 2006, our presidents got serious. We only had, when I started, 6 teams. It went to 7, and then they made a point of bringing in Geneva. They brought in St. Vincent. They brought in Chatham. All of a sudden, we're a 10-team league. Now we have legitimacy. I do think, too, in 2014 would be the other demarcation point. When Case and Carnegie came in as affiliates, came back to the PAC as affiliates. They had been previous members. I think that bought us a ton of credibility around the country. I mean, you're talking about 2 of the world-famous research institutions in our backyard. And then I think more recently, again, teams coming home. Allegheny and Hiram were former PAC members. They're part of the North Coast, here in Cleveland with like Oberlin and Worcester, which is a fantastic conference. But I think in both those cases, they wanted to cut down on the travel. And, joining the PAC allowed them to do that, cut costs. I think all 3 of those steps have been kind of our evolution over the past 2 decades to building to where we are right now.
That travel thing is a reality, isn't it? I mean, I know this for certain. Like, I'll use the basketball program here at Case as an example.
Yep.
They play in the University Athletic Association. The men's team has been highly successful over the last 3 years. 3 NCAA tournaments, twice they've made it to the Sweet 16.
Yep.
But when you get into that NCAA tournament, it's all about travel. It's about the NCAA not spending a whole lot of money on travel. I mean, really, that's what it's about.
500
right?
miles is the magic number, right? Which I'm sure talking to Coach McGinnis here. If you're under 500, you bus. If you're over 500, you fly. Well, because dollars are finite in Division III, they want as many bus trips as you can.
And sometimes that can set up matchups that you really don't want early in the tournament.
They want to minimize flights. I think they're going to try to do a little better job this year of protecting top seeds. They've talked about that. If it works out that way, that's great. We'd like to see that. But I think you're right. That's the reality of life in Division III. We just don't have the resources of the higher divisions, but we make it work, and we make a great championship experience regardless.
Why is it important at the Division III level? And my partner tonight, Jason Ward, his first experience here at DeSanto Field.
Yeah.
Why is it important to have this? You talked about culture. Jason actually brought up culture in looking at the Case Western football program from a coach's lens. Why is it important to have these opportunities in a place like DeSanto Field for student athletes at a Division III level?
Well, I think the great thing about our level, Ron, is we meet all worlds. It is possible for you to go and have a tremendous high-level academic experience, a high-level athletic experience, and yet have it not consume your entire life. You can do other things. You can be involved in campus groups. We don't believe that academic and athletic excellence are mutually exclusive. I mean, if there's one tagline I'd put on the PAC, it's that it is about both academic and athletic excellence, but also providing the balance for student athletes so that they're just not consumed 24/7, as is the case. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be negative on. I root for Ohio State the same as everybody else, but that is a 24/7 job for those guys.
Yeah.
We provide, and here's the thing: do we occasionally get a pro player out of, Division III in the PAC? Sure, and it's great when we do. But think about where these Case kids are going to be in 5-10 years. Think about where these St. Vincent kids are going to be in 5 to 10 years, making a difference in the business community. We're building future leaders, and this is part of our educational classroom, so to speak. Their experiences for the Case kids with Coach Debs and that staff, that's every bit as much of their education as it is in the classroom or in the lab. This is just their leadership education.
I'm sure you remember Bill Sudik.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Coach Sudik, the longtime men's basketball coach, track and field. You know, he coached almost everything here at Case Western, highly successful. He would always say to me, Ron, I don't coach anybody that's going to play in the NBA, when referring to his basketball team. But I have coached an awful lot of guys who went on to become CEOs and presidents of companies, doctors, or trial attorneys, you know, and you know, that is the reality of what you have here. But you are giving these student athletes the opportunity.
We are building future leaders, and when you talk, if you want me to be part of my 30-second pitch, that'd be my 30-second pitch. These are the future leaders of our communities, of their families, of our country, and I believe in this level. I believe in the balance. I believe in the opportunities. And I believe in allowing them to strive for excellence in every aspect of their lives. And I think we do a great job providing that.
Now, that's not to say that the time spent isn't significant, because it is significant.
Absolutely.
I have, you know, been a part of that basketball program that I referenced for 20 years now, and I have seen those both men and women athletes, you know, have intense classes that they've been a part of and then have to come to practice, or you know, play in an NCAA tournament and have a huge test that they've had to study for the night before. Now, does that happen on the Division I level? We can have different discussions.
Probably some schools more than others.
But the intensity of a high academic institution, while still trying to be competitive athletically, is a tough nut to crack.
Ron, I would say the one frustration I had early in being a commissioner has largely gone away, and it was this perception, especially from people who hadn't seen high-level Division III athletics, that this is glorified intramurals.
It's not.
And it is not. Now, I think
come to a game.
That's exactly what I said for years. And now I think we have enough media coverage at the Division III level that people see that. I think that perception's long gone, but we fought that misperception for years. And again, I said that I was on the radio this morning back in Pennsylvania. If that's still what you think, I said, go to that Grove City Carnegie Mellon game with two of the top 10 Division III football programs in the country, and you will never think that again about Division III.
Oftentimes, the only difference is speed and size.
Yeah, they're a step slower and a little bit smaller. But they're every bit as talented and every bit as skillful as their Division I counterparts.
So the teams are coming back out. We got about 2 minutes left, and I'm going to take a slight break before we start this third quarter. But before we leave, I want you to tell us how many more years you're going to be commissioner, and what's the next step? I mean, if you're commissioner, where do you go after that?
Well, that's a great. I'll say this: I have my youngest daughter is a junior in high school, which means she's got a year and a half plus college left. You could probably figure out the math from there. But Ron, I never say no. I love what I do.
Right.
I love this conference.
I know you do. You love traveling, going to. Yep.
I grew up 7 miles from Teal College. Yep. You know, in the shadow of this conference. This is home for me, and so I am extremely passionate. So, but do I see myself doing this into my mid-70s? Probably not. We'll see how it plays out, but that's a pretty good time.
Well, I think you've got maybe 35, 40 years till you get to your mid-70s. So,
I wish that was the case, but thank you.
Joe, it was great to see you.
Great to see you, Ron.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, we want to give a big thank you to Joe Onderko, the commissioner of the President's Athletic Conference. As you take this beautiful shot of DeSanto Field, we're going to take a quick timeout, and when I come back, Jason Ward will put on the headset. He'll be back joining me as we start the third quarter. It's 35-0, Case Western at halftime over St. Vincent.
At University Hospitals through Zinski Sports Medicine Institute, we believe all big games are created equal. So when Lulu came to us with a sports injury, she received the same level of care as Cleveland Browns star running back Nick Chubb. Sure, they may dominate different leagues, but our all-star team treats both the Pee-wees and the pros, because your comeback is our victory, and we want to develop the best care plan for you. And for you.
Welcome back, everybody. Just looking at the first half stats here. Obviously, Case up 35-0. First downs right now. Case with a whopping 13 first down advantage. They've got 15. St. Vincent has 2. We talked a little bit about the yards per game that Case is giving up in the rush department. at 65 per game. Right now, they've only given up 9 yards rushing to St. Vincent on 14 carries. Case, on the other hand, has 86 yards on 15 carries, so another huge discrepancy. Case has 233 yards passing to 25 for St. Vincent. You get the idea. It's been pretty one-sided here at DeSanto Field. Just some individual statistics that stick out here. Andy Kavsick for Case has 44 yards rushing. He's leading the team in rushing. That's only on 6 carries, so doing a great job there, averaging 7 yards a carry with a touchdown. Alex Fromberg has 13 yards on the ground on 5 carries, but he's got a touchdown as well, doing a nice job using his legs, not necessarily to run, but just get himself out of trouble in the pass game. Fromberg is 16 of 21, so he's right on that average. 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. He has taken 1 sack. His longest completion of the game is 40 yards. His leading receiver, as you could have probably guessed, is Noah Coyne. He's got 6 targets, 6 catches for 61 yards, 16 yards after the catch, and 2 touchdowns. So obviously he's doing a great job. But Alec Angelo, 5 targets, 5 catches, 60 yards. So he's right behind Coyne in the yardage department and in the reception department.
Zara plays touchback. Ball be placed at 25-yard line. First down.
So we are ready to play this third quarter. And let me ask the coach in the booth with me. You're down 35-0 at halftime, Jay. What's important about this first offensive drive for St. Vincent?
You just want to eat up. It'd be nice to get a score on the board, obviously. I'm still seeing Dudowski. I'm still seeing Tong out there, and chances are you're not going to put much together against this defense. I mean, let's be honest, but chew up some clock, get a few first downs, call that a victory, and go from there.
And that was that run by Dante Sanders, their top tailback, the sophomore from Clareton, Pennsylvania. And again, not much. Henry Bush and a bunch of other Spartans in on that tackle. But Bush is a starter, Sakala's a starter, OC's a starter. You mentioned Tong. So, and that's the dilemma that both you and I talked to Coach Debs about this week, about, you know, guys want their reps. Guys need to be in game shape. So in fourth quarter games late in the season when it counts, they're ready for it. But you don't want to get them hurt in a 35-0 game either. And there's a sack and a fumble. And the Bearcats are going to keep it.
On the field,
but that was
run of a
Caden
stop.
Tong. I know you like the guys with zeros
down.
on their jerseys, Tong and A.J. Dudowski, and both of those guys have not disappointed tonight, that's for certain.
Timeout on the field,
Well,
injury
that's Tong's
timeout.
second sack
Number
of the
19 has to leave for one
really,
play.
Again, really active, really getting after it here. These guys know they're not going to be on the field very much longer in this football game, so they're out there trying to get theirs until they're taken out.
And this is Jarrett Yonker. Yonker, the quarterback for the St. Vincent Bearcats. And if you were with us at the start of the football game tonight, we talked about that Yonker is not the usual starter. Luke Lewandowski, the junior, usually starts for this St. Vincent Bearcat offense. But tonight it was Yonker, and it looks like he's hurt right now. Number 18, Jamar Jones, was another player identified to us as maybe a potential quarterback tonight, so we'll have to see who comes in for Yonkers. But Jay, I want you to look at this. This is, you can go in there and work out as a college student, and this is, you know, overlooking the football field. I would be in the workout facility every time there was a
Both
game
clocks
being
will
played.
start on my
Absolutely.
segment.
Why not?
It's an outstanding setting here. The stands on the what would be the eastern side of this football field, the dormitory buildings and rooms.
And when you're on that treadmill, what you want to try to do, right, is keep your eyes off the timer. Like that just makes it even
go
worse,
forever,
right?
right?
You've
Yeah.
got something here that you can keep your eyes off the timer, make the time go by fast, and get the heck off that thing.
So 11 is Lewandowski, the typical starter. Will hand it off to Sanders. And Dante gets a couple of yards.
Dante Sanders, 230 pounds. I mean, that's a big back. Right?
That's an adult male.
Nice to see my man Jace Merritt back in at nose guard, by the way. Joe Mealy played a lot of nose guard in the second quarter of the first half, but enjoyed watching Jace Merritt on film this last week. He's a really good nose.
So Wolf is set to return. Bo really hasn't had an opportunity tonight to have a return. Let's see if he gets it now. And he won't.
Do you cover up the timer when you're on the treadmill?
I do not run on the treadmill.
Okay.
I am not a treadmill guy. It is quite possibly the most boring thing
It's
think
horrible.
that
It's
you
a
could
horrible
do.
experience. There's no question about it.
I
But
run
what
outside,
makes it worse,
Coach Ward,
is the timer.
I run outside, and, I'm just trying to stay up with young guys like you. Jason Ward in the booth with us tonight. Jay was the longtime head football coach at Columbia High School, the Raiders of Columbia Station in Lorain County, in his first year of retirement. What's it like for you as a longtime football coach to be watching games now?
Yeah, I'm a fan again. I enjoy being a fan. I'm still passionate about football, still love football. But, yeah, it's different. Like I said, I smile more these days.
Fromberg, little dump pass. And that's his talented first year back out of the backfield, Andy Kapsick.
If you eat, what's your favorite thing to eat? What's your favorite food?
Barbecued potato chips.
All right, so
if
you ate
being honest,
if you ate barbecue chips every day for 18 years,
it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good.
You'd probably need to get on the treadmill, but you'd also probably get a little bit sick of it.
That's Kapsick with the run, and he's up to the 40-yard line. So, well, we're thankful that you've got the time to join us tonight. And
it's a blast. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. So after this first series of offensive plays in the third quarter, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Debs does with Fromberg and with Kapsick and with Coyne and, those starters that are in there. This is Fromberg. He's going to dump it out, and immediately that was Dahlem that caught the pass, and that was Kashawn Davis, who we've mentioned a lot tonight. Davis
really
has
stands
done a nice
out
job
on this St. Vincent defense. Too bad he's a senior.
Davis, a senior out of Rankin, Pennsylvania. Played his high school ball at Woodland Hills High School.
I believe we are going to see mass substitution based on the wave of young players that just moved from the back of the sidelines to the front.
That's the tell, huh?
Timeout.
Yeah.
Case.
Spartans have called a timeout, and, Jay, we're going to take one, too. We'll be back.
To be able to say you learned poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You come out on the other side and just realize, wow, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
Fromberg sets up a screen to Dusler. But that defense by St. Vincent did a nice job of, I think, just laying back, right? Being patient, letting the screen develop, and then being there to make the tackle.
Yep, recognize the throwback screen there. A nice job. Brings up a fourth down.
Marcus Hart and Josiah Wyant on the tackle for the Bearcats.
Spartans will go for it.
It's 4th and 10. And this is Fromberg.
Plenty of time.
Fromberg to Dusler. Gage needs to make a move. He does. He gets inside the 35. He needed to get to the 33. The way he went down almost looked like he was grabbed by the face mask. Watch the end of this play. So here's Dusler. And he was
maybe
couldn't see on that angle. And obviously if it was a face mask, now this is a better angle maybe.
Great job in pass protection.
There is no penalty, and St. Vincent's going to get the football, but it was just, he just got brought down aggressively. Quarterback situation remains the same. Luke Lewandowski is in there, replacing his injured starter, and that's Sanders, who,
wow,
one of those role plays where, you think you're down but not because there are defenders underneath you.
Yeah, heck of a run by Sanders.
Look at this. Well, on replay, he was down. His forearm hit the ground.
They don't have that luxury.
No, they don't. But, what's that say about that young man? He's down 35-0 in a game that's never been a game, and he's still fighting hard for every yard.
That's the thing. Like, when you're playing D3 football, if you had any quit in you, you wouldn't be playing, right? I mean, these guys just love to play football. I mean, that's what it is. It's ingrained in them. They're not going to let up.
Lewandowski on the run. In on the tackle for Case Western was Daniel King. Daniel's had a real nice night on both special teams and in his work on defense. And Mason Mealy.
Most of the starting defense still out there.
$11 is Lewandowski. He's a junior, North Huntington, Pennsylvania. Came into tonight their starter. This is Sanders. And Sanders is tackled for a loss.
Trock. Deep in the backfield.
Gabe Trock from North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Timeout on the field, injury timeout.
We'll keep it here. It's Gabe, number 8.
I think that's Dudowski down on the field.
And if it is Dudowski, and we don't see AJ's number anywhere in our line of sight.
He's back up.
And he's back up. That's a good sign.
Yes, it is.
So
that's the panic moment right there.
What's Deb's thinking right there?
Yeah,
what's
thank
going
God.
through Greg Debelak's head?
Thank God. Now he's probably saying to somebody, what do you guys think? When are we getting these guys off the field?
You saying to somebody, and obviously referring to his coaching staff. That's one of the beauties of this Case football program. That coaching staff, they've been together.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of experience there, a lot of respect. 2nd and 13. Lewandowski to throw over the middle. What a catch! Laying out and bringing it in for the St. Vincent Bearcats with a beautiful catch in Spartan territory was Austin Wells. Boy, Wells has done a nice job on special teams tonight, and that was a fantastic catch. Jace Merritt, the nose tackle, wants it waved off. He's still saying,
no catch.
That wasn't a catch. How would the nose tackle know whether that was a catch 15, 20 yards down the field?
He wouldn't.
Sanders breaking tackles at the line of scrimmage, but that Spartan defense, led by Caden Tong, is in on every play. Joe Mealy back in there.
You bring up a great point about how long this staff has been together. It's something I don't think that is talked about enough in football is continuity. The continuity on a coaching staff it's so important. When you start to think alike after a long period of time. Now, you want that conflict. You don't want to have a bunch of yes men on your staff, but when you've got guys like that have been together so long, it just makes things so much easier on everybody, including your players.
Spartans are coming. Lewandowski's getting in trouble. He's just going to throw it up there, and it's caught. No, incomplete. They'll say the ball hit the ground.
On the field is an incomplete pass. The receiver did not control it all the way through.
Well, how about Lewandowski, Jay, getting rid of that football and actually making a real nice pass
really
out
nice
of it.
throw. Really nice throw.
That was Brian Boyd trying to get the catch, but good defense by the Spartans.
Well, Yonker gets hurt, and Lewandowski's seizing the opportunity here, coming in and playing some good football.
It's 3rd down, 3rd and 10. Halfway through this 3rd quarter. Spartans pull back, showed blitz, pulled back.
Nice escape.
Boy, still getting in. Pressure, and it'll be 4th and 10. Teal is next week, and that's a home game for Case Western. After that, they're on the road at Westminster, and then they're back at home for 2 of the last 3 games of the season. They've got Washington and Jefferson at home. They travel to Grove City, defending conference champions, currently ranked number 7 in the country.
Why would you punt here? I mean,
Down 35
nothing. You're on the
Yeah,
37-yard line.
37.
It's 4th and 10. Big deal. Like, you've worked on your punt enough today.
And it's a
Might as well
punt in the
get
end
another
zone,
play.
so-
Right. Yeah. You're going to net 17 yards. Come on.
So who's coming out for Case Western? It's Fromberg. And that offensive line, 60, 67, 68, 77.
You know, and
This
it's something I'm
group's
sure
going to get another series.
I'm sure it's something that's talked about. You know, they have a plan for this game, knowing that it was probably going to be like this. They knew exactly how long they were going to play these guys, and you know, it must be maybe it's through the 3rd quarter. But again, that conditioning we talked about, Ron, is so important, right? Game conditioning, you have to have it.
Fumble. Fromberg, it popped right back up to him. And the Spartans were lucky that time. New running back in the game. It's new to this series, but Kavsik's been in there most of the night. The Spartans have had, let's see, Kavsik, Waite, James, Dusler, 4 tonight that I can say off the top of my head. I don't think we've seen Christopher Lim or Nico Lancashire yet.
One of the things we haven't talked about is the guard play that Case gets too. Peter Kelly, Zach Miller.
Fromberg deep to Coyne,
That's
and
interference.
that is a pass interference penalty.
You know, in order to set these pockets that Fromberg's been able to throw from, you need guards that can anchor down and keep the middle of that pocket from collapsing, right? And these guys have just done a heck of a job all night keeping that
Pass
pocket
interference.
the way you want it to
Defense
look.
number 38. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Give some credit to Tony Thivener too, right?
Yep.
Center.
You know, you look at the size of those guards.
Yeah, they're big
Kelly
boys.
6'4", 285. Miller 6'6", 290.
And it's funny, that's the size that you're used to seeing your tackles, right? Thivener, I was watching the game last week. He got his face mask caught, like intertwined with the nose guard's face mask from Allegheny. The guy had to take his helmet off. Thivener's standing there with his helmet on and the other guy's helmet, like, still on his face mask. Never seen anything like it.
Kavsik, there he is again. Hard to bring down. Look at him go.
That's your guy.
I mean, look at the work.
He's slippery.
By Andy Kavsik. Making people miss. There's 1. There's 2. And then look at this. He stayed on his feet.
Balance.
And he's going to run it. Breaks a tackle at the 40. Robbie Labuda with the tackle for St. Vincent. That's Labuda, number 20.
Nice little run in between the tackles there.
Your guy, Sean Michael James, number 1, bottom of your screen. In the game right now for the Spartans.
The feature back right now, right?
See if he gets the football. Fromberg. And that, a little too far for Dylan Cave. Jack Breyer has checked in. Breyer will line up on the left side. Jack's a tight end.
follow one here, huh?
Kapsick will get the handoff and do exactly that. It was 3rd and short, and he needed to get to the 35. He gets to the 33. TJ Yoder, a junior wide receiver, has now checked into this football game. And Yoder's going to go out to the far right. Coyne is the top receiver at the top of your screen. This is Kapsick. And keeping it is Phillips. Aaron Phillips with a broken tackle. Aaron Phillips down to the 20. And he's run out of bounds inside the 20. So
great pull from Zach Miller there. Little gap scheme run from the Spartans.
There you saw 72, who Jay Ward referring to. Zach Miller, that right guard. You need a guy good on his feet to play guard, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fromberg. This is Dahlem. Ethan trying to break tackles. He does, and Ethan Dahlem is in the end zone. Dahlem caught a simple pass and did the rest. How about the block by Noah Coyne?
Great block by Noah Coyne, but I really want to explain how hard of a throw that is. It looks so easy, just a little bubble, out to the flat. But that ball traveled, 20 yards in the air before it got to him. And he put it right in the right spot to where the receiver could read what was in front of him. He didn't have to reach back for the ball or anything like that. He put it in the right spot, and you could see how the blocking was developing in front of him so that he could make that move and score.
Just over 3 minutes to play in this third quarter. Smiles on the faces of the Spartan marching band. It's because their team's up 42-0. It's been a good day if you're a fan of Cleveland sports. Guardians won in Game 5, a win-or-go-home series game against the Tigers. And tonight, just east of downtown Cleveland, on the campus of Case Western, the Spartans. I said to Joe on Derco, the commissioner of the President's Athletic Conference, that
very interesting interview, by the way. I learned a lot.
This was the best football team in Northeastern Ohio, and I said I include the team that plays in the National Football League in that conversation. Yeah. So Spartans on their way to improving to 5-0 on the year. Looking at that defense as they head out, it's staying the same. So impressions, your first time in person.
I love it.
Seeing this team play.
I love the energy. I love the enthusiasm. I love the way this team plays.
Pump through 5, please. Pump through 5.
It's what you want to see as a former coach. If you're coming back as an alumni, somebody that played for Case, you want to see players enjoying themselves when they play the game. When I watch this team, I see a group of guys that's enjoying themselves. They enjoy each other. They enjoy the game. They're enjoying their experience.
Recovered by Case Western.
Well, there's the enjoyment right there. I mean, look at Caden Tong.
42-0. He's celebrating like they just recovered a fumble in the last couple minutes of the game to go down and try and score. It's awesome. They've got the little basketball hoop down here on the sidelines. I saw Ethan Dahlem dunk one after his touchdown. I mean, those are the kind of things that make it fun, because football can be so monotonous, You got to change it up a little bit. You got to be creative.
Phillips in at quarterback. Phillips is going to keep it. Phillips trying to break it outside, and Aaron will not get to the 25-yard line. Aaron Phillips, a 6'2 junior. Aaron on the season coming into tonight. You see him carrying it. 8 of 10 passing, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's carried it 10 times. He's averaging 5 yards a carry.
This is a new line for the Spartans, but not a new blocking back. Sean Michael James still ready to smash faces.
Gage Dusler looking for a hole inside. Gage inside the 25. He'll pick up 3. It'll set up a 3rd and short. That's Deuce running off the field right now. Very much enjoyed his career at Case Western. He came in as a freshman out of Avon Lake High School, immediately paid dividends offensively. And I said he was the money in the bank guy because over the last couple of years, every time they're in the red zone, they give the ball to Deuce, and oftentimes it turns into a touchdown. So this is Sean Michael James in the backfield, again with his quarterback Phillips. Phillips looks to his left, and he throws behind his receiver. Out there trying to pull that one in for Case Western was TJ Yoder.
This offensive line did a nice job in pass pro there. A lot of times when you bring your backup in, at least for me, I like to, at least for the first series of having the backup in the game, keep the starting offensive line out there to give him, you know, extra level of comfort. All these guys that came in up front did a heck of a job.
A lot of guys coming in on 4th and 5, and the Spartans are going to kick it. This is Ryan Wald in to kick it for the Spartans. It will be a 41-yard attempt, and it certainly was long enough. It just missed a little to the left.
You know, you've got Zach Miller sprinting out there. You've got Tong sprinting out there on the field goal.
Special
These
teams.
guys just got off the field. They're probably, you know, relaxing for a second. All of a
Stop
sudden,
the clock,
you know, you hear the field goal. You got to go sprinting out there. You finally think you earned a break.
Please reset the game clock
No,
to
sir.
148. 148. Thank you.
148 will be left to play in this 3rd quarter. It has been a game tonight that has been dominated by Case Western from the opening kick. They only set up to punt once in the entire first half, and that punt turned into a fake punt.
148. 148.
That led to a first down that eventually led to a touchdown and a 35-0 lead at halftime. And the 3rd quarter will show only one score, at least at this point, for Case Western, but it has certainly been a quarter that they have been in charge of.
Thank
So
you.
building depth, let me talk to you about this. As a coach, a former coach, as St. Vincent will go to their steady running back, Saunders, and Dante just still running hard, and there's a flag on the play. I don't know if there's going to be a holding call on St. Vincent. If it is, it's on Corbin, the wideout, number 7.
Holding. Offense
And that's to
64.
negate a very tough run by Dante Sanders. But let's go back to building depth for a second. Can you build depth in games like this, or is it hard because it's such an exaggerated point differential that there's not the energy maybe that there is there?
I think the best way to build depth and you know, continue to build your program is to get meaningful minutes for those 2s and 3s. You know, when it's like this, you're getting good quality film that you can teach off of, which is great. But I've always been a big believer in trying to find meaningful minutes for those guys. I mean, that's really, you know, you want them out there when the bullets are still flying. You know, it's just gotta mean a little more to really make a difference.
And the Spartans, and since we're on
at
defense
least at the
right
high school
now,
level. Now, the college level, it might be a little bit different, right? Like, you know, every play you put on film is a big deal. So, you know, there probably is a difference there now that I think about it. But, yeah.
Inside a minute. And defensively this year, this is a team that is just built to do great things because of the experience on this defense. So getting minutes outside the 11 that are typically there, it's tough to do because those 11 are special.
Fun to watch, no question.
It will really get fun
to the snap. Timeout.
when we see them matched up as this
That's
season
right.
goes on. And 2 of those 3 huge games are going to be right here at DeSanto. And we'll have a front row seat.
At University Hospitals through Zinski Sports Medicine Institute, we believe all big games are created equal. So when Lulu came to us with a sports injury, she received the same level of care as Cleveland Browns star running back Nick Chubb. Sure, they may dominate different leagues, but our all-star team treats both the Pee-wees and the pros, because your comeback is our victory, and we want to develop the best care plan for you. And for you.
Second and 15. Lewandowski to throw. Now he's going to run. Looking for something, and he gets up to the 22-yard line. So going to pick up 3. Ran about 15 yards to get that 3. And chasing him were some familiar numbers. Mealy, Tong, and Dodowski. I mean, if you're a defensive down lineman and you are running the field like those 3 have done tonight and frankly have done all season long, they're not playing in a box, Jason. You know, there's an expanded area that they're playing in. These are guys who are in good football shape. Think about that thought. The third quarter is over. It's 42-0. We'll be back for the final 15 right after this.
To be able to say you learned poetry from Ohio's poet laureate.
There's a lot of opportunities to do research as an undergraduate student. I've actually had a chance to file for a provisional patent on my research.
We built a pediatric pulse oximeter for use in developing nations.
We built a hypodermic needle incinerator.
Thanks to ThinkBox, I'm developing my concept for a fuel injector that makes jet engines safer and more efficient. It helped me earn a trip to meet President Obama and pitch my company to investors from the TV show Shark Tank.
All I heard was, you have been admitted to Harvard Law School. You know, you come out on the other side and just realize, like, wow, like, this is what I can do. This is how far you can go. And it feels really good.
St. Vincent needs a play. They'll look to the ground to get it. They need 12. They'll get 4. And they'll face a 4th down decision. And they'll punt it. You know, I got a chance to talk to the commissioner of the President's Athletic Conference here at halftime, Joe Derko. And, you know, Joe talked about the quality of play, the quality of athlete at the Division III level, and how it's real. And I've seen it firsthand calling football and basketball games here at Case for, you know, a very long time. I say to people all the time, in basketball, I'll use that as an example because that's been the most exposure I've had, 20 years calling basketball. The difference between those athletes and somebody who plays at a higher division is very much typically comes down to inches. Like he's a 6'6", not a 6'10". He's a 5'11", not a 6'6". And these are real athletes who are very good at their craft. And you as a high school coach for 2 decades obviously had Division III coaches recruiting your kids. What was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, I sent a number of kids to play at the D3 level, and you know, it's a psychological thing when your high school football career is over, right? I mean, it's tough on kids. They love it. You know, they've had this attachment to high school football for so long, and then all of a sudden it's over. And now you have a decision to make, right? And for many small school kids, large school kids, a lot of these guys on these sidelines are the best player, were the best football player at their high school. They were the guy, right? So now you have a decision to make. Do you want to continue your career? And then, you know, what happens is high school coaches go to these recruiting nights. We have, you know, a couple a year at St. Ignatius. You know, it's like that everywhere. And you go and you meet coaches from all these different. Oh, there's a touchdown.
Wide open. And this one's going to go 59 yards for a touchdown. That was Phillips to a wide open, broken coverage, Jake Otto, the sophomore wide receiver wearing number 19, nobody around him. And that's a memory. That's a moment that
He'll
Jake
never forget
Otto
that.
will not forget.
That's right. And guess what? As he's running into that end zone, it makes it all worth it, right? That decision to keep the career going, to keep playing the game you love, that makes it all worth it. That's awesome. Good for him.
St. Vincent has jumped off sides, and that extra point's good, and that will be declined penalty-wise.
Offside.
And the Spartans will take a 49-0 lead.
The penalties decline. Good point.
But you're right about the players that are on the field. I mean, Fromberg, great player at Raritan High School in New Jersey. Noah Coyne, fantastic player here in Northeastern Ohio at Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. I can speak from direct experience. Nate Sacalo, the starting safety, and Gage Dusler, one of their talented running backs, studs at Avon Lake High School. A very good high school football program. Studs. And, being very effective here at Case Western Reserve for a very good football program.
And they found their why. We talk as coaches all the time about find your why. Why, why are you doing this? Why are you here? And, there's no NIL money here. They're not on scholarship. They're playing because they love it, and that's why, this is a special, D3 football will always be special. It's because these guys are out here because they love, and I told my guys for years, you better love every single part of the game. I'm talking about the film. Here's a nice run back. The meetings, the film, the weight room, everything that goes into it, you better love it if you're going to go play at that level.
Watch the hit here by Charlie Morrison for Case Western. Number 24. Boom!
Mm-hmm.
Defensive backs love that, right?
Absolutely.
that opportunity.
Well, I mean, the most bored players on this field right now are the safeties for Case. I mean, when you've got to get through Dadowski, Merritt, Mealy, and Tong, and then you've got Trock, Cabrera, Torres, and Bush waiting for you, there's not a whole lot of meat left on the bone if you're a safety for Case. Those guys are finally out of the game, I think, now, huh?
Running with the football for the Bearcats, Isaiah Sosak. He's a freshman. Luke Lewandowski is the quarterback. Costello still in at left tackle, and Calabrese still the center. And if you're St. Vincent, you got lots of you got work to do. You need these ones in there playing.
You do. I mean, it's every rep matters. That's why I got irritated about the punt, right? Because every rep matters.
Those linebackers coming up and making hits. 45 for Case Western.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 men in the backfield. That penalty's been declined. Result of the play.
But your basketball analogy was a good one too, Ron. I mean, these guys that are playing at this level, are like the commish said, are maybe a half inch to an inch shorter than a D2 guy. Maybe 5 pounds lighter than their match at a D2 school, and then it goes up a little bit more to the D1 level. But I've taken so many high school players to a D3 practice, and they're shocked at how big, fast, and strong, the players are at this level.
Lewandowski running on a 3rd and long. Didn't get the first down. So here you fully expect St. Vincent to go for it. Right,
Yes.
Coach Ward?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Please go for it.
Number 18 for Case, and your shot right there, Michael Stewie. Michael Stewie, the 3rd Avon Lake Shoreman on this football team. What a great story that family is. Michael's grandfather played in the NFL for the New York Jets. His dad played at Virginia Tech and then had an opportunity in the NFL for the Detroit Lions. His brother Luke is an outstanding player.
Runner was short of the line to gain. Turnover on downs. First down, Case Western.
It's a nice hit by number 49.
Number 71, St. Vincent has to leave for one play with a helmet off.
And looking on my roster, I don't see a 49. So Spartans will take over on downs. And in at quarterback is number 12, Sam DiTilio. DiTilio will hand it off. And here's a fun situation. We've got two number 2s in on offense for the Spartans.
Yes, we do.
Now, the one is Dusler, and the other is Will Stack. So Stack is the thinner of the two. And that's not to say Gage is overweight. Gage is built like a, brick wall.
Stack, a first-year wide receiver from Wadsworth.
Play good football down there at
Yes,
Wadsworth.
they do.
If you're looking for atmosphere, go to a Friday night football game at Wadsworth High School. So DiTilio, who's the quarterback now, was a outstanding quarterback in high school at Avon. And Sam's going to run it. Quarterback draw. Spartans needed 10. Sam got all 10, plus another yard. Here's another example.
There's a couple of guys looking out the dorm room window over there watching the game. Pulled the couch over to the window.
Yeah, that would be you, Jay Ward.
That would,
That
absolutely.
would be me.
I'm surprised we don't see a little bit more of that.
So DiTilio, let's tell that story for a second. I mean, here's a young man who's the top quarterback on one of the top teams in the state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
He's that good. And he's, a quarterback of the future or a player of the future in some way in this Greg Debelak offense because
Coach Elder loved him.
Sam can run it, and he's going to do it again. He's tough. He makes good decisions. He picked up another 10. Coming into this game, DiTilio was the second leading rusher on the football team, and that's in limited action, and that's from the quarterback position.
Yeah, I remember Coach Elder talking about him at our awards meeting at the end of the year, and couldn't say enough good things about him.
Jason Ward referring to Mike Elder, the football coach at Avon. They're the number 1 ranked team in the state right now in Division II.
It's exciting.
Dusler with a handoff. I wonder what it's like for an Avon quarterback to hand off to an Avon Lake running back. Because if you know anything about Lorain County, specifically those two communities, DiTilio, the quarterback at Avon, Dusler, a running back at Avon Lake, those are two rivals that,
It's one of the biggest rivalries in the state, no doubt about it.
They don't even refer to each other by the real name of the town that they're from. It's like Woody would never say, and every coach after, including, Ryan Day, they don't refer to Michigan as Michigan. They just call it that team up north. It's DiTilio again. A lot of guys moving in and out right now for Coach Debelak. Jay, who's in charge of that? Who's in charge of all this movement right now? I mean, the head coach cannot be responsible for that. There's a lot of moving parts going on.
No, he's not. So you have your position coaches, right? You have your offensive line coach, and he's going to be the one responsible for the personnel changes in his unit. Same with the wide receivers coach, the running backs coach, and they'll have it tiered, right? They'll have their A, B, C group or their, whatever they want to call them, but
So DeTilio with that run sets up a 4th and maybe 2 yards.
And again, it's all pre-planned.
Dusler will be behind Sam DeTilio. Spartans need to get the football to the 34-yard line. Got about 7.5 minutes left in this football game. Gage will get it. Gage spinning, churning. I'm not sure he's going to get enough for a first down. It's going to depend on right foot, left foot. And it's going to be a left foot mark. And that's the old John Madden reference. He would always say if the line judge gave me a right foot mark, that meant it's a first down. If he gave me the left foot mark, that meant I was short. And it holds true.
Short of the line to gain, so
I'll have to keep my eye on that.
First down, St.
That's
Vincent.
interesting. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I will say this. Nico Lancashire, right?
Right.
Number 33, came in and tried to do, you know, my man number 1's job. Tried to do Sean Michael James's job. He's got a little bit of a ways to go.
Well, Nico's a sophomore.
Yes, which is a good thing.
And he's 45 pounds lighter.
That was going to be my next point. Right. So, you know, get on the training table, peanut butter sandwiches, and he's going to get there.
I love peanut butter sandwiches.
It's the best way to gain weight.
They don't seem to do anything for me.
You don't seem to love them.
Now in at quarterback for St. Vincent, their 3rd quarterback of the night. That's number 9 in your shot right there. That's Lance Bender. Lance is a sophomore.
When we were talking to Coach before the game, I was interested to hear what he said about recruiting a lot of Western Pennsylvania guys. They have a lot of Pittsburgh area players on the roster, a lot of guys that I'm sure St. Vincent goes after as well. It's got to be a bummer for them to see a lot of those kids come to Cleveland to play football, but it speaks to the program that's here at Case, right, Ron? Like this is it's one of the top D3 programs that you can play at.
Absolutely, year in, year out. I mean, we talked about the success Coach Debelak has had in his 21 years. And there's a lot of guys running to the football.
On the other hand, there's not a whole lot of Northeast Ohio players on the St. Vincent roster. So we're keeping them here and going into the Pittsburgh area and getting them, which is nice.
You know, and this is my 3rd full fall of calling football games. For years I just did the basketball, but this is my 3rd full fall of doing football. And I've noticed that at least in the short, you know, window that I've had, Mentor, Avon Lake, programs like that in Northeastern Ohio, a lot of those young men end up playing for Coach Debelak. And those are 3 pretty good football programs.
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding and well coached. Coach Gray over at Mentor I've known for a long time. Won't find a better coach. Obviously Coach Elder, Coach Kostelnik, both do an amazing job preparing their kids to play at the next level, whatever that level may be.
Fourth and long, Bearcats will punt it. Wolf will have a chance at a return.
You know, another thing that Nico can do is take the short walk or ride over to Little Italy and get on some of those pasta dishes up there.
I wonder if there's a training table set up on Murray Hill Road through Little Italy. If there was, I think I would volunteer to be like, someone that, checks the athletes in and make sure everybody's going to training table, and then I could, enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Heck of a recruiting tool too, by the way.
Nice run on a first down for the Spartans. Tilio handing it off to Matthew Battelle.
See where Matthew Battelle's from, Ron? Grafton, Massachusetts.
Jason Ward
Grafton,
brings up
Massachusetts.
Grafton because both he and I are from Grafton, Ohio. There's a Grafton, West Virginia, too, I think. Ooh. There's a Grafton Street in Dublin, Ireland.
Okay.
And I think, and this is a Case Western reference, and I'm going to have to check, and I'm certain Coach Reimer, the women's basketball coach, is no longer watching, but her point guard, her freshman point guard last year, who was her starter, very good, from Grafton, Wisconsin. Sam's going to keep it. And DeTilio, boy, tell you what, he delivered
nice
the
job
shot.
Finishing that run from the 5'11", 190-pound DeTillo.
Tyler Harpst came up to make the hit, and Tyler got hit, and so did Jaden Fisher.
Do you think the DeTillios get up to Murray Hill? That last
I think
name?
so.
Nice spiraling punt. Tough bounce.
Rhodes' punt goes into the end zone. And when the Bearcats come out, they'll have 1:56
Rizzola kicks a touchback ball
left in this football game.
Line. Timeout on the field. That's the 2-minute timeout.
Let's take a look at some guys out there on the field right now for Case Western. Stewie will be in the backfield at safety. You've got, I don't know if they got Tyler Fickus, another one of their quarterbacks, playing defensive back now. Fickus is number one. There are two number ones on the roster. Sean Michael James, that is not Sean Michael out there. Could be Fickus. I know that he's an athlete. That's one of the reasons that Spartans recruited him, liked him a lot.
I see Phil Laverty out there for the Spartans, son of the great Tiger Laverty.
At Kirtland High School. Shane Schwartz is out there. Schwartz playing linebacker.
And there goes Phil Laverty back to the sideline.
Running that football, hitting that hole hard. I've been impressed. I know this is going to sound odd in a 49-0 game, but honestly, I've been impressed with the effort of St. Vincent tonight. They have, their running backs are getting that football and they're running hard.
again, if you're going to play, you might as well play hard, right? And you don't see it all the time, but at this level, these guys, they know one speed, man. And I have been impressed too, especially with the running backs. I mean, there's nobody that played harder out here tonight than Dante Sanders, right? I mean, that kid, every time he touched the ball, fought for extra inches.
Sanders, the sophomore running back, came into the night the leading rusher for St. Vincent. Isaiah Sosak got a couple of carries here in the fourth quarter. We're inside 20 seconds left in this football game. Spartans going to wrap this one up. They're going to improve to 4 or 5-0 on the season.
Ron, thanks for having me tonight. This was it's been a pleasure.
49-0, the final. Jason Ward, my partner in the booth tonight. Jay, it was my pleasure, and the Spartan football program pleasure for having you. And if Andrew Rossman should choose to have a conflict with another home game this year, we'll give you a call. We'd love to have you back.
I'm in. I'd love to come back.
And if you ever just want to, you got a free Saturday night, you want to come sit in the booth, watch the game, enjoy some chicken fingers and some pizza.
One of these big ones down the stretch I'd like to see, I'll tell you that. The Carnegie Mellon. Is that one here?
Yeah, that one's here.
Yeah.
Final game of the year. November 16th. I want to thank the production crew tonight. Jeff Casarda and Andrew Majeski, our videographers. Gibson and video replay. And then our director, Mike Becker. Mike always finishes with a wave. Let's see if that comes up before we sign off. If it doesn't, we want to thank everybody. Thank you for watching tonight. Thank you for watching every Saturday afternoon that we bring you Spartan football. Your final tonight from DeSanto Field, you see it right there. Case Western Reserve 49, St. Vincent College nothing. Spartans 5-0 in the season. We'll be back next Saturday night as Teal comes to DeSanto Field for a 6 o'clock kickoff. Have a great weekend, everybody.